Well, that's just my 2 cents.
No, I'm with you. Totally.
Not so.
Oh, she's the same.
Totally.
Over there hanging out. No worries about it. We ain't getting nobody.
Getting out at midnight. Fun.
Somewhat what we received a second.
Which one?
No, we weren't in the briefing.
From here on Senate.
They got a new plan with better buildings.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just glad to see we were have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I gotta pay, I just pay that. Get caught up. I usually put it up my computer. In the afternoon. Yeah, that's good in the afternoon.
What's wrong about the donut store? Down there?
Oh, good. So they don't have to.
Correct.
They don't have to.
All right,
No.
it's time.
Can't tear that down.
Yeah,
It's good news.
it is good news.
We're ready.
He asked me earlier. I said yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Thursday, April 10th meeting of the Asheboro City Council. Some of you have an agenda in your hand. There have been some changes to the agenda since it was first published, so we may get lucky tonight and not be here till midnight like we were last month. And for those of you that have not had the opportunity, I want to introduce our new city manager, new for what, a month now?
About a month.
About a month. Donald Duncan. Donald has taken John Ogbur's place. John retired after 24 years with the city. Mr. Duncan comes to us from Caldwell County, where he was county manager for 3 years.
About 3.5, yep.
3.5 years, and was city manager of Conover. I get Newton and Conover mixed up, but
Don't like those guys.
for a long time. So we are fortunate to have him, and he hit the ground running. We're very pleased to have Mr. Duncan on our staff here. I think we will not miss a beat. You can't hear me. I don't, is that on?
Yeah, just speak up, I think I get it.
Can you hear me if I talk directly into the microphone? I'll try to do that. Okay. Please join me ask you to stand and join me in a moment of silent meditation. I invite you to participate in any manner that you are comfortable, and we will follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The public comment period is not always first on the agenda, but it is tonight. So if there's anyone in the audience tonight that would like to address the council on any matters of city business or concern, this is your opportunity. I ask, there is a sign-up sheet on the podium here. If you speak, for whatever reason tonight, if you speak, please print your name, and the purpose for that is so when we transcribe the audio tape, sometimes it's difficult for us to get the correct name or get the correct spelling of a name. So if you do speak tonight, please check in on that list with a printed copy of your name, please. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the council tonight? It's your opportunity. Can you hear me, ma'am? You just raise, if you can't hear me, raise your hand and I'll try to repeat myself or talk a little louder.
I'm just listening tonight, and next time we come, I'll go talk.
Okay. Nobody wants to speak. All right, well, we'll move on to our downtown development coordinator, Addie Corder, has a report for us. Actually gonna give us some great news.
Yes.
And she is accompanied by the president of her board, Al LaPrade.
Yes. It's good to be with you all tonight in this don't look out the window weather. We're here to present the Main Street Award for Asheboro, which is something that we submit every year through the North Carolina Main Street program. So I will read a little tidbit about our distinguished awardee for this year. So every year, the Downtown Asheboro Board of Directors nominates a Main Street champion, someone whose dedication and leadership have made a lasting impact on our downtown community. While Asheboro's downtown isn't centered on our Main Street here in town, this award connects us to a statewide network of changemakers through the North Carolina Main Street program, the leading driver of downtown revitalization across our state. This award honors those who have shown a long-term commitment to building a vibrant and thriving downtown. People who understand that it takes a vision, persistence, and a whole lot of passion to shape the place that a community can be proud of. Our 2024 champion spearheaded the development of the centerpiece of Asheboro's downtown, Bicentennial Park, which was constructed in 1999. This venue is booked year-round by a wide variety of organizations in addition to city events and serves as a true third place, increasing connections with our community. At his suggestion in 2005, the city began a summer Sunday concert series, which expanded to 2020 with the Friday night concert series, attracting thousands of people downtown annually. Our champion also played a key role in revitalizing the historic Sunset Theater and redesigning the Sunset Avenue streetscape, helping to shape the identity and functionality of our downtown. Our champion has also made his own personal investment downtown by purchasing and rehabbing a building that was at risk of becoming storage warehousing. Now this property houses Full Moon Oyster Bar and 2 market-rate apartments with space for additional tenants. While he has always understood the importance of investing in all parts of the city, he also recognizes the unique and essential role a strong downtown plays in the overall health and vitality of Asheboro. His decisions reflect that time and time again. It is my honor on behalf of the Downtown Asheboro Board of Directors to recognize our 2024 Main Street champion, Mayor David Smith.
We are very proud of you.
Justin wants a photo, so.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Richly deserved. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sure. If you leave it over here, it's gonna get wet. Well, that was a surprise. Thank you very much. I was told a long time ago that if you can't look after your core, you can't look after or do a good job looking after anything else. So the downtown is the core of Asheboro, and rightfully so. and we've tried, John Osborne, the recipient last month, last year. We've worked hard to make downtown attractive for the people, a place to gather and spend your money and enjoy life. And I thank you very much for the recognition. Mr. Garner, our Chief Building Inspector.
Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Duncan. Welcome aboard. Council members, appreciate you setting a few minutes aside for us to give this annual report. And congratulations, Mayor. Well deserved, very well deserved.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate all you've done. Again, it's a great pleasure to present the annual report highlighting some of the significant progress and achievements with our city's construction sector over the past year. As expected, 2024 proved to be a successful and busy year for City Building Inspections Department. The number of permits issued and inspections conducted saw a significant increase, reflecting a growing awareness of the necessity and importance of applying for permits. And all measures suggest that the city's interest in promoting building and public safety through the administration of state building codes are being achieved. And saying that, thanks for Trevor and Alyssa here in City Hall. We've tried to get on social media and put out some more information to make an awareness of when permits are needed and maybe when they're not needed. And if not sure, for the call the office. We're having a lot of things go on that people don't understand, either through a language barrier or just not understanding the basic codes and regulations. But thanks to them, we're starting to broadcast some of that stuff out in social media. So it seems to help because our permits have picked up, especially alterations, interior alterations and things like that. But the dedication and hard work of our team had led to a successful completion of several major projects. Notable accomplishments include, there's so many of them, I just tried to put a few up here, some of the major ones, like completion of Cone Health Center, Duke Energy Center, Operations Center down on Veterans Loop, Shell Building, and Starbucks interior upfits is completed. 44-unit subdivision off Crestview Road, historic Randolph County Courthouse addition. That was the elevator addition that we completed. And Starbucks, like I said, Starbucks and the new Dollar General at the north end. I think that's number 8. Mayor, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's number 8 for the Dollar General, so in Asheboro. So
You sure it's not 18?
maybe next year.
Sure seems like it.
That's right. But we completed all those, and some of our ongoing projects include Randolph Farm Food Family Center, Randolph Packing. They got some additions and alterations up there. South Asheboro Middle School. That's going to be like probably an 18-month, maybe even a 2-year project. Just getting underway now. We're starting to issue some permits for it and things like that. But that's going to be a long process, kind of similar to the Asheboro High School we done a couple years back. So, fast-paced urgent care, which is down close in front of the hospital down North Fayetteville. Jersey Mike's facility, that started now. That's about halfway through, so it shouldn't be too long before we finish that up.
Where is the Jersey Mike's?
Jersey Mike's is in one of those parcels out at the mall that was vacant. And I think it filled up that that last building they built out there. It will fill that building up. So, and some of our planned projects would be couple of new hotels, possibly coming, Memorial Apartment Complex down the street here at Church Street, and several multifamily developments, and the Bank Hotel. Anybody not aware of that? The Bank Hotel downtown here, been here forever, ever since I was a kid anyway, so, and that has been a long time ago. And Asheboro Pain and Ortho, they're doing some renovations in that building. I think that's at 610 North Fayetteville Street. They're doing some renovations in there too. So the valuations, again, we're talking about valuations that we collect on our applications is not very accurate. I don't think. Sometimes it's just things that we collect on the application, and I don't think it reflects a total cost of the tax revenue that it's bringing in. But I think it's fairly close. But next year we want to change a little bit about the report. I want to get away from some of these things like the tax value and start implementing some more numbers that we control, such as permits and inspections and revenue and things like that. And I'd take suggestions from any of you council members or Mr. Duncan that how we can improve on getting more information other than the valuation of something that we can't control. So anyway, I'm going to ask for some help on that and to generate a new type report next year if it's okay. Trevor and I have been talking about it, so maybe we can accomplish that before next year. So in the line of this growth, we're also in the process of training some new hires to prepare them for the anticipated expansion of our city. And it's my priority to equip the new staff with the necessary skills and knowledge to effectively contribute to our ongoing future projects. Justin Geringer is our new inspector. He came from a lateral position in the city, wanted to get in the inspections department, so we got him over, and he's doing some training. He'll be in some extensive training for the first year anyway, because I'm not a big fan throwing people out in the world and expect them to sign off on things that they're not comfortable with. So he's going to be in some pretty extensive training. Him and Tiffany is another permit technician that she came another lateral position, and she is doing good at the permit department. Both of them had took the law and admin classes and passed that, and they're on their way, and so we're trying to get them trained in the right format anyway. So Nathan, our other building inspector, he has moved up to been promoted to level 2 because he's achieved his level 2 certificates in all 4 trades. So that's helping me on my end get some of the commercial stuff, picking up some of the commercial stuff now. And he's doing a tremendous job at going to classes and getting these tests passed. So a shout out for him too on that. So okay, we are dedicated to substantial growth and innovation in our city's building sector, and thank you guys for the support that everyone provides. Even here in City Hall, it's just a tremendous group to work with. Here's some of the valuations that we produced, and like I said, some of them are. It actually decreased some from the previous year, but our permits increased from the previous year. So that's why I say we can't really go by the valuations on our report, and look forward to next year to changing this. And a little bit how busy we was, I think we had 3,700 and a little over 3,700 inspections recorded. And we trying to do quality inspections too, and keep in mind that we're out running from one job to another, and sometimes it gets a little frustrating that on people calling us and we can't get there when we used to get there. But I think everybody's adjusting now to everybody's pleased that I hear anyway. Believe me, I would hear complaints if it was out there. But if anybody's got any questions, feel free to let me know. And keep in mind about the report, I do want some suggestions on what you guys may want to see in the following year, and try to tweak the report a little bit to give you more information on what we actually do out in the field and office. So, okay. Any questions?
Questions?
Just a comment that I just continue to hear that your customer service is really good.
It's always been my demand, even where I was at before. We got a lot of compliments about customer service, and I think we got the right group here to provide that, continue providing that. So it's just so important for me, because I've been on both ends of this spectrum here. I've had to call inspectors for jobs, and I know how it is out in the real world, and I just want to make it easy for them, and at the end of the day, it makes it easy for all of us. So.
Exactly.
But I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Garner.
I appreciate you, and again,
Appreciate your work.
congratulations.
Thank you. We were very fortunate to have you on board here, heading up that department.
But I'm the one very fortunate to be here, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'd like to add, for the benefit of the audience, that our building inspections is not about fees. It's not about being difficult. It's about public safety. We follow the minimum building code, and we expect the builders to do that, because we don't want a property to fall down in the middle of the night with people in it because it was poorly constructed or cut corners or whatever. So we take a lot of pride in what we do, the service part of it, and the technical part of it. And Eddie's out there making sure that the builders are not cutting corners, and that it is well built to minimum, and I say minimum, design standard according to the state code. It could be a lot stricter, but it's all about public safety. So, Mr. Garner, thank you so much. You do a fine job for us. Okay, moving into item, okay, let's see. Yeah, the consent agenda. Council, is there any item on the consent agenda in front of you that you would like to remove from the consent agenda for individual discussion or consideration? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as you have it in front of you.
Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Burks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. Thank you very much. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving into item 7. Those are our legislative zoning issues. We had 3 on the agenda. 2 of those have been requested to be continued to the next meeting. So I will call on Mr. Evans to introduce the first one. Now, my point in mentioning that is, if you are here for item B or C, zoning issues B or C under 7, We will not be talking about that tonight, and you certainly are free to leave.
Clarify B and C.
Huh?
Talking about B and C. Crestview Church and Cherry and Sunset.
Okay, B is legislative hearing for the rezoning at Sunset Avenue and Cherry Street. And item C is a legislative hearing involving property on Crestview Church Road. So if you are here to speak either for or against, we will not be hearing those cases tonight. And I would just suggest that in the interest of saving you some time, you're certainly welcome to leave. You will not miss important business on those cases if you do leave. Mr. Evans, item A, let me introduce it. It's a legislative hearing which I will open. And it's a request to rezone property located at 411 and 441 North McCrary Street from R10 medium density residential to R10 medium density residential conditional zoning. Have at it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening to everyone. This legislative public hearing is being applied for by Mr. Brian Lucas of BLL Holdings LLC. The proposed zoning is an R10 medium-density conditional zoning. The specific use being requested with this rezoning is for 5 two-family or duplex-style dwellings on 5 parcels of land. And I will mention that both the applicant and staff mailed the required notice to the abutting property owners. The notice was published as required, and there have been signs posted on the property. And so there are 2 addresses that are associated with the property. Those were former single-family dwellings that have been removed. The property is approximately 1.5 acres. It is within the Asheboro city limits in its entirety and is currently undeveloped. There is city water and sewer that runs along North McCrary Street and Perry Street. And in terms of road classification, North McCrary Street is a collector level street. It is state maintained, and you have primarily single family and 2-family dwellings that are around the property. It is including these 5 parcels here that are outlined in blue. They're on the center of your map there, just to the west of I-73-74, just to the north of McCrary Park. So you see a lot of yellow there. That is R10 zoning that surrounds the property. So this next map shows you the parcels that were notified, as I mentioned in the letters that were mailed, and the subject parcels are A1 through A5. If you look at some of the subject or the adjoining parcels on the east side of McCrary Street, such as parcel E, parcel F, the parcels that are between those and the interstate, some of the parcels along Perry Street, such as parcel M, and then some of the others around the cul-de-sac that are very small. These are legal non-conforming. So we have a total of 11 parcels around the property that are less than what would typically be required for R10 in terms of the lot size. So that does become important as we look at the analysis of the request. In terms of topography of the property, it's fairly level until you get to the northernmost of the 5 parcels. It's a little steeper there, as you'll see on the photo coming up. And there is, of course, city water and sewer with the blue line, city water, and the green line, the city sewer. There's also the force main with the black and green line. So this shows you one aerial view of the 5 properties, and you kind of see the context of the surrounding properties. A more updated aerial shows you the grading that's taken place where the dwellings were removed, and the property is just to the north of the McCrary Park. It actually adjoins it on the southernmost property it's kind of like a hatchet shape right there. So this is a photo of the property from North McCrary Street. This is kind of on the southern end of the property. This is another photo from that southern end of the property looking in another direction. This is looking on the northern end of the property, just north of Perry Street, looking south on North McCrary Street. This is looking from Perry Street, if you're looking back towards North McCrary that you see in the background with that intersecting street. So you see a little bit of the topography there on the northern side of that parcel. And then this is looking west on Perry Street with the property off to your right. This is toward the very end of Perry Street. This is looking south on North McCrary Street toward the McCrary Ballpark. You see the property on the right. Then finally, this is looking north on North McCrary Street away from the property. So primarily single and two-family dwellings in this area. So on the site plan, there's actually two different pages on this. This is the very first part of this on the three southernmost parcels. You'll see that the lot sizes vary from 12,600 to just over 20,000 square feet. Typically for a two-family dwelling, there would be 15,000 square feet required, so that is why it's coming before council as a conditional zoning, because on some of the parcels, the lot sizes are smaller than what is typically required. The other slight deficiency that we have is in the terms of the parking setback. You'll notice that there are three parking spaces on each side of the duplex, so there are 3 per unit. That very first row closest to the street has a 10-foot setback rather than a 20-foot setback that would typically be required by ordinance. The developer has identified some areas of tree preservation where you see existing trees noted. They have also identified some additional buffer trees that are planted 25 feet on center along kind of the perimeter of the properties that adjoin some of the other abutting properties. And there are some foundation shrubs as well along the front side of each of the duplexes. Also, typically there would only be 2 parking spaces per unit. The applicant has provided that additional space. So they have done some, or proposed some improvements that would be over and above what the ordinance would typically require. So if you look at the second map, that shows you the northern side of the property, very similar in terms of the landscaping and foundation planning. So this is a building elevation of the property. It's a 2-story dwelling with 1 unit downstairs and 1 unit upstairs. Some lap siding and board and batten or shake siding also included as the building material. Here you have the R10 definition. As I mentioned, there were a total of 11 non-conforming lots that are within 500 feet of the property that are under the minimum lot size. Also, many of the parcels in the area have less than the 75-foot required lot width. And so in this case, the parcels in the subject property are already less than 75 feet in width. So the applicant is attempting to kind of even those up in terms of the width of those. The density of this development is just about 6.7 dwellings per acre. That is under many of the surrounding dwellings, which are up to 8 dwellings per acre. We covered that. In terms of the land development plan, the proposed land use map is for neighborhood residential. It is in the city limits, so it's in the primary growth area. We have a total of 6 goals and policies that we found within the plan that tend to support the request. Only one that's negative toward the request, dealing with the terrain on a small portion of the property. And so just to summarize the staff's conditions on the property. The first part of that include very standard conditions that we would have, that the applicant accept the conditions in writing. If there are any changes to the site plan, that those be completed prior to our zoning permitting. And the applicant will need to record a plat showing the new boundaries, also receive NCDOT permitting. There is a condition that allows up to 5 single-family units if the applicant chose to do those on any of the lots in lieu of a duplex. And also, the landscaping that's shown around the property would need to be preserved. If for some reason it's removed, it would need to be replanted with a buffer. So I won't go through those conditions unless there's questions, but I think that gave a summary of those. And so in terms of the consistency and reasonableness, we believe that the request is consistent with the land development plan because of the plan designating the property for neighborhood residential use, and single and two-family dwellings being the main part of that use. Also, the density is very similar to the properties around it, so that, in staff's opinion, justifies a slightly higher density. The request, we believe, is also reasonable because it has access to city services, and it's in the primary growth area, and the property is also close to McCrary Park and other transportation corridors such as I-70, 374, and also having access to other employers and services. So given that analysis, staff recommended approval of the request, and planning board also recommended approval. So at this time, I'll be glad to pause and take any questions.
John, the setback deficiency or alteration is.
Yes, sir.
Is for parking and not for building.
Correct. The park, or the building setbacks do comply with the ordinance.
Any other questions? Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Who represents the applicant? Mr. Wilhoit, come on up, sir.
Good evening, council. Welcome, and Mayor, welcome Mr. Duncan. I had an opportunity to speak with him. I told him, folks in Randolph County grin a lot. We hope that's not a reflection of our intelligence. And I think the expression on his face was, the jury's still out on myself. But well, I'm here representing Brian Lucas. And what Mr. Lucas is doing is he's trying to, like I told the planning board, he's taking some properties and he's going to make them better. He cleaned up a lot behind McCrary Ball Field. I don't know if you've been over there. And that's a nice parking lot. I wish we'd had that back in the 60s when Darrell Moody and that crowd were playing, because cars were parked everywhere along that North McCrary Drive coming over there to watch play. But what he wants to do is change this from the current zoning to a R10 conditional medium density residential conditional zoning. And the reason he's doing that is so that he can put 5 duplexes on these lots. Now, he can put currently 2 duplexes and 3 single-family homes. Let me repeat that. He can build 2 duplexes right now, and he can build 3 single-family homes. Essentially, what he's asking is to be able to build 3 more duplexes. And so this rezoning addresses allowing 5 duplexes on these lots. If you look at the property, the grading of it is such that there is still trees toward the back of the property. And the way the configuration of the lots are, they do move some of the square footage, but it appears to fit the area well. We've got an aerial view will show that, because there are a lot of duplexes. I don't know, and I told the planning board this, I don't know why back in the day when surveyors were mapping out property, they did 25-foot lots, 25-foot lots. So you come up, you buy 4 of them, you got 100 feet, or you get 125 feet. And guess what happens? You get left with smaller lots that become non-conforming lots. John mentioned there's 11 non-conforming lots, properties around this site. And the density level is much greater than it was being proposed by Mr. Lucas. There are over 8. He's down there about 6.7. But we'll show you some of the property. And as you see, as it's laid out, it tends to fit that neighborhood pretty well. Right. And the grading that's proposed, this allows them to do that. Now, we've got an aerial view. It'll come on in just a second. And for the record, I know most of you, I'm Robert Wilhoit, Wilhoit Hatchell at 100, that's for the record, 100 Sunset Avenue. But I think Mr. Lucas, what wants to do is he wants to take this property and put it for some reasonable housing. Everybody understands the cost of housing now. Everybody understands it. I mean, houses that used to bring 125 to 150,000, they're over close pushing $300,000. If you look from this aerial view going up McCrary Street, you'll see there is existing vegetation that's left. He's already got these lots cleared. That'll allow, approved by this board, he can put 3 more duplexes on these sites. I believe in discussion with the city staff, he's agreed to other conditions. He's agreed to have some buffers and adjoining land owners. He's agreed to put some leaf foundation plantings. He's also agreed to plant a tree in the front yard. The 3 parking spaces is to help alleviate parking on the street. I understand that has been a real concern of council in the past. And he had discussions with your staff. He slid those in so that, guess what? You got some extra parking spaces there. As you see the video, there's McCrary Park, which has really been renovated. Right across the street, there's a duplex, as you can see up there, and Mr. Lucas built that one right there. It was nicely done. As you come around, you notice the proximity to the interstate, because these 5 duplexes will allow people to get to their jobs, whether it be in Asheboro, whether it's going to be south of town, or whether they're heading up toward Greensboro, or even going to Trinity area and High Point. It's just really an excellent use of this property to provide some needed housing. As you can see, there's the lots there, and there's North Quarry Street, and this lot is right next to the parking lot, and the other one's basically a street over. There will be buffers for the existing houses, and I think these properties will fit in nicely with the proposed zoning that's being asked for tonight. Mr. Lucas builds a nice quality product. There's one he's already done here in Asheboro, and that is going to be a replica similar to what he's going to put on site. And as you can see, it's a quality product. He doesn't cut a lot of corners from what I understand in talking to my sources, and he does good work. He's asking to be able to build 3 more. He can build 2 already. He's asking to build 3 more. And we feel like that request is reasonable. And the staff and discussions have made this conditional, and that's why he agreed to these other points. We feel like this matter would be a favorable result in the use of the property and the location behind Macquarie Ballpark. I've got Mr. Lucas here. If you've got any questions for him, we'd certainly like to have him speak.
Bob, you alluded to the fact that he was amenable to some extra conditions as it related to vegetation. Specifically, though, are you amenable, or is Mr. Lucas amenable to the staff recommended conditions?
Yes, he is. And he's met with them, and you're good with those conditions. And you have an excellent staff here. Sometimes people agree to disagree, but I tell you what, when you come to all the points, and Mr. Lucas has been building a pretty good while, he knows what can be done, and there's a proof in the pudding right there. I'd live there. That's a lot better than the duplex I lived in when I moved here. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions?
Thank you very much.
Anyone else who would like to speak regarding this request? Ma'am, come on up.
I live right.
No, ma'am, you need to come up here. I'm
I
sorry.
live right across the street.
And you need to print your name on the
Okay.
list.
I live right across the street from where he's building, and I don't I don't see 5 duplexes coming up in that area. I've lived there for 45 years, and I've watched them take this down. So it could be some duplexes in there, and if they have more property down the street, it can be 5 duplexes, but I don't see 5 duplexes coming up in those 2 properties. Because it's gonna run back into the ballpark, it's gonna run back into other people's property.
Ma'am,
So,
which parcel do you live in, D, E, F, or H, or,
I live on the other side of where the property,
N and K, or?
I'm not sure.
On this map.
I live on the North Macquarie, right in front of Perry Street. So I'm on the Perry Street. If we're coming down the street, it would be on the right, and I'm on the left.
Wait, would you be in D then?
Is what number is
Right
that?
here. Right.
I think so, because there's like 4 houses up in there.
Right here. Here's Perry Street.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
I
what's your
must
name,
live in
ma'am,
D.
sir?
Monica
We've got
Rush.
names up here, so.
Monica Rush.
Monica, okay.
Monica, do you rent?
No,
Oh, I see. There we go.
It is D.
Ladera Mungian, is that?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm. I just don't see those, I don't see 5 duplexes coming up in that area with apartments on the other side of that parcel of land. And going towards the ballpark, I don't see, I might see more going down there, but in front of where I live at, I don't see 3 apartments going up there.
Ma'am,
Unless it's tall, unless you're going up levels. If you're gonna have 2 on the bottom and 1 on top, it will work out, but,
Ma'am, aren't you happy those buildings are gone, those old buildings?
yes, I
That
am.
was terrible.
And I'm happy for others to come up, but I don't see that many coming up in that area and have parking space. Because the Macquarie ballpark, when they have the ball games, it's not gonna stop the parking on the road. Even though they got that parking space, they still park on the road because they got that parking space. So, I'm doing the 4th of July. I have people park in front of my driveway going all the way up.
About that,
Yeah.
I've been over there.
Yeah, and so it's not gonna stop the parking because you got that little parking space there. That's not enough parking space to hold all the people. I just don't see as many parking, developments coming up in that area at one time. I'm glad it's coming up because it makes the neighborhood look great. But I don't see that many coming up. So,
Any other
if he can
questions?
do it, God bless him. If he can put up two side by side with 4 apartments up and, 2 up and 2 down, he might can do it that way. But I don't think that what I seen there is it will take up 1 space. And you will not have no parking space because you have houses behind it. There's development on Perry Street, that first development, there's houses back there, that people own. So unless they have more space back there, I haven't seen it.
Mr. Evans, can you put the site plan back up, please? There, Ariel.
Okay, so right there on Perry Street, if you show that again. Okay, so the track on the subject property on that side, there's a house behind it, so you have no room to go back. I don't know how much those people own, but that's not a big parcel. The other parcel is larger because it's closer to the ball field.
I think, if I'm doing a little quick math there, if you take the 5 lots and combine them, which is just exercising arithmetic, there's roughly 67,000 square feet of land.
I don't even know what that means.
I'm gonna try to, I'll
Okay.
get to a point.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, just doing the arithmetic, not really addressing the shape of the lots. He has enough of land to build 4.5 duplexes without asking us a question.
Right.
And he's proposed to us certain conditions that would make for more landscaping, more parking, more appearance upgrades that he's willing to provide if we'll grant him permission to build half a duplex extra for the square feet. And I think he's contributed quite a bit to the appearance standard by his concessions to make this work for us.
I'm not against him doing that. I just don't see all that with the parking. You know,
Well,
because there's,
he's exceeded our parking requirements. I mean, he's provided parking for the units, and he's provided guest parking, which is one of our critical components that we look for a developer to keep cars off the street and have in excess of our minimum requirements. And that's one of the expensive conditions that he agreed to obtain a half a unit. I understand what you're saying, but he's got quite a bit of land there. It could be 4.5 any way he wants to do it by math, just the arithmetic. Or it could be 5 with all these conditions, and we're in total control of what he can build.
right.
And so I think it's been a pretty generous offer
I was just putting my 2 cents in because I live in the neighborhood, so I just
Understand.
wanted to make sure that, you know, he's off the road, because when those cars come down that hill, they don't look out for people. I live there, and I see them coming down the hill, buses coming down the hill, and you can't, I don't know how much the city has, it's city probably, they tell me is 15 feet from the road, so you can't be too close to the road. So, you know, I don't know. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in since I got the
And we
numbers.
appreciate that. The truth is, North McCrary was built with no shoulder, no right of
nothing.
way.
No, no,
There is no right of way in front of most of the houses on
no.
North
And
McCrary.
if you have children, there's nowhere to play at. You know, when we was young, we was able to go out in the road and
I
play.
understand.
and pick
I'm
up
saying
rocks
that
and all
there is no
But
right
that's-
of way there
no.
because the developer did not include right of way.
Yeah,
You're right, it's
Right.
usually 15 feet, 10, 12, 15 feet. North McCrary is predominantly no right of way, ditch to ditch.
yes,
And it's a narrow street that we've wanted to do something
I wish we
about,
would.
but there's no right of way for us to work in.
right,
So, and you'll also notice in the aerial view, the big aerial view, that the parking lot for the ballpark, the back parking lot for the ballpark was not finished
right,
last year during the 4th of July. Moving forward, it is finished now, as you see in this picture. And we fully expect to keep many of those cars off of North McCrary during the fireworks show.
I believe it
And the
when I-
fireworks show is the one night of the year when
yeah.
parking is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the time, there's adequate parking. We doubled the size of the parking, the number of parking spaces at McCrary Park.
okay,
So everybody should be able to get into a parking space. And so it's up to us to make sure that during the fireworks show, that they don't block the traffic. It's a public safety issue also. If they're blocking traffic, blocking driveways, we don't allow that, and especially now that we've got additional parking. There is a place to park, so they're not going to be allowed to block your driveway or to double park on North McCreary Street.
okay.
So,
That's all I wanted. You know, I believe it when I see it. Because I see the ball games that's going on now, and they're still on the side of the road, and there's parking space back there, so.
well, those
I thank
parking
y'all for my-
spaces were not finished at that point. They were just finished.
Yeah, I know when they finished, because I see.
Well, it was, in that other picture, it was still a dirt lot.
Mm-hmm,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I totally agree with her. And you did your math. But did you also do the math on how many people will occupy those 5 places with their children?
Well, that'd be hard to calculate, anticipating whom and what and where, but based on the number of bedrooms, yes, ma'am. That's the reason that we have the parking requirements, and he has exceeded them.
Well, I just totally agree with that lady. I think that's too much. And I agree that there's probably not going to be enough parking, because when you get that many people there, they're going to have more than 2 cars probably. So I really totally agree with her.
No, and he has more spaces than that, but yes, ma'am, I appreciate your input.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we can move to delivery of the phase.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one question. Mr. Lucas, are you gonna be the landlord? Yes, sir. Okay, so they're not being, so if those folks have an issue, they can contact your office and, okay.
Good point. Council, what are your wishes?
Mayor, based on the consistency statement provided by staff, I move we approve the conditional zoning with the recommended conditions proposed by staff and amenable to the applicant.
We have a motion by Mr. Bell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Moffett. Discussion?
I'd just like to say that's been an eyesore along there for years and years. And so it's wonderful to see those new buildings.
I concur, Bill. It's practically a public service.
And thank you for maintaining the vegetation and the trees. That makes a huge difference.
I didn't hear what you said.
I was just thanking him for maintaining the trees and vegetation, because it just makes a big difference.
Well, those were trees?
On the backside.
Look like straight out of the Amazon. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Motion carries.
Jeff, do we need
Mr. Evans or Mr. Sugg, whichever is gonna handle this. I guess you're elected.
No, you're right.
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, this is for the continuance request to,
7B, request for continuance.
yes, sir. So this case was the request concerning a rezoning on property located at 721 Sunset Avenue and 129 South Cherry Street. The request was to rezone from OA6 office apartment and RA6 high-density residential to a conditional office apartment zoning with multiple family dwellings. We did, and you saw in your packets, receive a continuance request from the applicant. They are continuing to work on some design updates to that project, so they would ask that that be continued to the May 8th council meeting.
Do I have a motion to grant that continuance?
So move.
Ms. Heath makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Burks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to continue is approved. Item 7C.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Similarly, this is the request for a development on Crestview Church Road. This consists of a residential plan unit development and a development with multiple family dwellings. This was just approximately 1,100 feet southwest of Zoo Parkway. The applicant requested a continuance on this item as well. They are continuing to work on refining the design of that project.
Questions? Do I have a motion to grant this continuance?
Mayor, I move we grant the request to continue for the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Swears. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to continue is granted. Moving to item 8, Mr. Evans, I believe that's you also. Update on the upcoming vacancies on the planning board.
Yes, sir. So we did have one planning board member who resides within the Asheboro city limits, Mr. Harold Anderson, who had been an excellent board member starting, he started his term in 2000, and the April 7th meeting was his last meeting with the planning board. So he just decided to move on. But he did have the term continue through January 1st of 2027, and so this would be looking at the list of applicants to fill that unexpired term until January 1st of 2027. And so just to kind of brief the council on the appointment process for this request, after we received the notification from Mr. Anderson that he wished to come off of the board, we did advertise this vacancy on the city website, on Channel 8, through our typical channels, and we have solicited some applications, which you all have a copy of those. There are a total of 7 different applications. I will mention that 3 of the candidates who were in the applicant pool, those included those who had applied once Mr. Anderson had announced his leaving the planning board, and they also included some applicants who were on file previously with an additional vacancy. So 3 of those candidates, Mr. Rob Brisley, Mr. Mark Van Cannon, and Mr. William K. Smith, they have indicated that they no longer wish to be considered for the board position. So the active applicants that we have are Mr. Wayne Moore. That application was received August 21st. That was previously on file with the last vacancy. Mr. Jason Higgins, that was received March 21st of this year. Cindy Ho, that was received also March 21st of this year. And Mr. Greg Patton, and that application was received on March 24th of this year. So, as far as the process, the council could select one of those applicants during your meeting this evening, or you could refer those applications back to the planning board. And if you chose to refer them back to the planning board, then the board would forward at least 2 recommendations to the council for your consideration at your May 8th meeting. This would be looked at by the planning board on May 5th. And so that's generally the process. So I'll be glad to take any questions if you have them at this time.
Questions?
We had some good applicants. I was pleased to see that, really.
I do think we have an unusual applicant. I think sometimes we send back for recommendations and how to sort and get recommendations, but I think at this time I'd like to entertain, just for discussion purposes, if we would consider wanting to go ahead and make a decision tonight in recognition of Mr. Patton's extensive background and you know, if anything happens to our director or whatnot, we might have somebody to step in. He didn't mention anything about looking for office hours. Just as a consensus kind of thing, would anyone have any objections to moving forward tonight with the decision?
I'm okay with that.
Thrilled to see the application.
I concur with you.
I concur.
Based on that concurrence, then, Mr. Mayor, would you entertain a motion?
I certainly would.
I make a motion that we appoint affectionately known as Greg Patton to the City of Asheboro Planning Board. And thank you for your interest in serving with us.
Have a motion to appoint Greg Patton to the planning board. Do I have a second?
Second.
About 6 of them.
We'll get Joey. The second is Joey Trogdon. And discussion?
Let me just ask now, these other applicants can be put, we can keep them, right, if we have another opening?
Yes, sir.
Certainly be considered again, right?
We will, and we'll contact all the applicants as we did in this case.
Okay, great.
Sir.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Greg Patton to planning board for a standard term. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Patton.
You on the clock, Betty?
It's a thankless job.
No, you have to stay for all the meetings.
Power.
Okay, I believe Mr. Franklin's up next. Kevin Franklin, who is the Director of Economic Development Corporation in Asheboro, Randolph County, and you go right ahead, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize for interrupting. If you wouldn't mind officially opening the public hearing, it has been advertised.
This is a public hearing?
Yes, sir, it is.
Well, I guess I better open it.
We would appreciate it.
Consider yourself open.
Thank you.
The public hearing for economic development appropriation is hereby open.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. Wanted to make a request on behalf of, it's the Randolph County EDC. Our official and long title is the Asheboro Randolph County Area Economic Development Corporation, affectionately called the RCEDC. We're requesting an appropriation for economic development purposes in the amount of $119,900 from the city of Asheboro. And as the slide indicates, the appropriation is for purposes other than real property and location incentives. So quickly, the funding is for the costs associated with the acquisition in fee simple, a single parcel of land at 1900 South Fayetteville Street. The parcel identification number is on your screen. It's on the west side of South Fayetteville Street in Asheboro. And the purpose of the acquisition of this property is to provide future access to a rail-served site that can be made available on the other side of the site. I'll show an aerial of that here in a moment. Ms. Reeves, who's compiled this slide, has indicated that the funds are currently appropriate as unallocated in the economic development budget of the city, and for purposes of population, increase of population, taxable property, agriculture, industries, employment, industrial output, or business prospects of the city. And the parcel in question is outlined in yellow on your screen. You can see in the white hatched lines the Norfolk Southern rail line. If you've been by that site recently, I hope you see that we've taken some time and a little bit of expense to clean that up, and it looks a little bit better than it did previously. You'll note on the back side, or on the upper side of the Norfolk Southern rail line in that image is some vacant land. It's part of the property that is many of us know as the old Black and Decker building, or if we've been around a little bit longer, you might know it by something else as well. But the property owners there are amenable to selling some acreage of land in that vacant parcel area for future industrial use. We actually do have a prospect that we've been talking to about the potential of locating on that site. If those conversations do not proceed, which we hope they will, but if they do not, it still opens up land for a new rail-served small industrial site. And if you've been listening at all to what we've been saying for many years, the more sites that we can have, the better off we all are in terms of additional industrial development. I will state that the EDC, in conversations with City Manager and Councilman Moffitt over the last year or so, identified this as a suitable piece of land to provide access across the rail into that site. By the way, we have had conversations with Norfolk Southern. We don't have confirmation of access across, but we are having those conversations. We believe that will be approved by the railroad to open that land up. In February of last year, the EDC did acquire that piece of property in the amount of $119,900. And we are here this evening requesting for the city to reimburse us for that cost. In conversation and conference with Mr. Ogburn and now with Mr. Duncan, we are in concurrence that the EDC would hold that property, that would remain on the tax books for the time being, and that when we identify a prospect for that site, that we would then convey that property as the right-of-way at no charge to access that property. So that is our request. That is where we are with that today, and I'm happy to entertain any questions that council may have this evening about this. Again, the purpose of this is for future economic development of a rail-served site in the city of Asheboro.
How large is the wooded athletic field site that they're willing to sell?
So I think we could easily have 4 to 6 acres there, 4 to 6. The interest is not to acquire the entire parcel. Part of that.
Almost 15 there.
There's
something in that neighborhood.
Yep. We believe 4 to 6 acres is certainly suitable for the primary use that we have in mind and the prospect that we're discussing that with.
Just so the audience will know, Norfolk Southern closed that crossing a while back because it was not being used. And they felt one less crossing was less dangerous for the traffic that was using it. So they closed that crossing, rail crossing, and left that piece of property sitting there with an independent owner. And they led you to believe that they look favorably upon opening that crossing for us if we find a tenant. And also, we're in the city of Asheboro. We don't have a lot of industrial sites.
Correct.
We have hardly any. All the sites that are developable are outside the city limits in other parts of the county. And so here's one that has rail and water and sewer.
And gas.
And gas.
And it's already zoned for industrial use.
It's perfect for a small to medium-sized prospect.
Correct.
So there is some speculation here, even though we are talking to a tenant that, or someone that is interested. There's a degree of speculation here. And I think it's something we need to do for the betterment, long-term well-being of Asheboro and our economic growth.
I would make one note as well, if I could. If the question is in one's mind, why aren't we just looking at the area that held the prior crossing? That is a private road. It is owned by the same owner that owns the putt-putt course that is adjacent. And the real estate broker that we worked has approached that property owner, and there was not interest in selling that property or providing access. So the next best thing is the adjacent parcel that will provide equally good access to that site.
I would add too that modern day crossings, the dimensions are larger, probably wouldn't be able to fit a modern day crossing on the old right of way. And it allows you to have an alignment with Boyd Avenue instead of having an offset alignment. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay, any questions? Council? Time to make a decision.
Mr. Mayor, if you wouldn't mind asking, make sure if any citizens want to provide input.
Is there anyone else in the room that would like to address the council regarding this proposal? Hearing none, I will move to the deliberative phase and ask the council what their wishes are.
I move we move forward with the requested funding, I guess, subject to Debbie's presentation of the council action for the proposed acquisition.
So you've moved?
I have.
Second.
Okay, well, the money, as Mr. Franklin said, the money is already in the general fund budget as unallocated, so there is no ordinance that needs to be approved tonight. We just need you guys to approve the appropriation of $119,900 to the Asheboro Randolph County Area Economic Development Corporation so that we can disperse the funding. You've got a motion and a second.
Thank you.
May I add one thing? We do have a new track supervisor. His first day was Monday. I've spoken to him on the phone. He's gonna try to tour with us sometime next week. So he's making this one of his priorities.
Good. Let's hope he's a team player.
Let's hope.
Okay. Long-term, this will be a wonderful opportunity for the city. Okay, I had a motion. Did I have a
And a
motion?
second. Yeah, you got a motion and a second.
And a second. Hey, I'm getting old. I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So, thank you, Mr. Franklin, for shepherding this project through for us. And, we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that, the tenant we're actually, or the prospect we're actually talking to at this point will come through, decide that that's a good move for him. And if not, we'll find somebody else.
Thank you for your partnership, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be a win-win if we can do that.
Okay, I believe we're down to item 10, McCrary Ballpark renovation project. And that would be Mr. Duncan and Jimmy Cagle.
We're gonna do, actually an
10A.
amendment to the contract to close out the current construction contract and pay the sales tax that we owe on the purchase of materials first. And then we'll go to the next one. We're on item 10. Mr. Leonard and I can discuss.
I see that. All right, well, one of you start the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be very brief. For consistency, this item has been presented as a change order, or is being presented as a change order. Change order number 3 between the City of Asheboro and Rogers Builders for additional omitted sales tax above the allotted amount in change order number 2 for $20,000, which was approved in July of 2023. You have in your packets the change order number 3 for the amount of $15,306.03. And these additional sales tax, or for these additional sales tax, and staff recommends approval.
I'll add too, Mayor and Council, that the documentation they provide for the sales tax allows us to file for the reimbursement. So we have to pay them, and then we could file for reimbursement and get those funds remitted back to the city. So this is just the first step in that process.
So it's a net.
Yes, sir, we net out. Yeah, we gotta pay it, and then we get it back.
They have to turn that in with their pay request.
Good.
You need a
You do
motion
need
for
to,
that.
yeah.
Yes, sir, you will.
All right, may I have a motion?
I move we allocate the sales tax as presented. To close out the McCrary Ballpark
To close out the
construction
contract.
improvements fund.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we get to item B. No?
Item
Actually-
11. Yeah.
Actually, the next step with the approval of the change order that you guys just authorized, then there are two ordinances that need to be approved. The first is the ordinance to amend the general fund appropriating funding for $15,307 to be transferred to the McCrary Ballpark Fund, because that's where the contract is housed, is currently encumbered. And then there is a second ordinance to amend the McCrary Baseball Park Improvements Fund for the same, but you do need to approve the general fund one first with a separate action, and then approve the second one, the ordinance to amend the McCrary Baseball Fund secondly. So I recommend approval of the first ordinance to amend the general fund by reference.
We have a recommendation to approve the amendment, the general fund amendment by reference.
Mayor, I
Do
move
have
we,
a motion.
Mayor, I move we move to adopt the ordinance by reference to amend the general fund.
Have a motion to adopt by reference. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And then I would like to recommend adoption by reference of the ordinance to amend the McCrary Baseball Park Improvements Fund for the same reason.
Mayor, I move we adopt the ordinance to amend the McCrary Ballpark Improvement Fund by reference.
Motion by Mr. Bell to adopt by reference. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Well, I've got one over here. I got a cough drop.
Number 11.
All right. Mr. Sherman. Let me, while he's coming up, let me say kudos to the Asheboro Police Department. They closed down another fish game today with guns drawn and their best raiding technique. Another fish game was closed, and that's a few. I don't have the exact number, and you're not gonna tell me at this point, are you?
Thank you. They put a lot of effort into this.
And what most of you don't understand is while it's illegal, we have to have undercover officers in that establishment that actually witness the passing of money, the payout. And if we don't witness it, we can't close them down. So we've had, our undercover guys have been in and out of those places for months now, and building their cases, and they've closed a few, and we're hoping that word gets out that sooner or later, Asheboro is known as not a good place to do fish game gambling. So, just another quality of life improvement that, you as citizens should not have to put up with. The people that are playing these games and using their family's hard-earned money and food from their children's mouths, in illegal gambling. So, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes,
you're
sir.
up.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm just here to introduce the next topic. As you all know, the playground at the Sportsplex has been closed for about 6 months now. And if you're like me, you get a phone call at least every day as to when it's going to reopen. But staff has come up, we believe, with a solution on how to solve that problem. So I'm going to turn it over to the city manager and Jimmy Cagle to discuss that with you.
Mayor and council, staff has reviewed this extensively. There's been a large voluminous record, documentation, and even a third-party engineer was hired to come in and review. And ultimately, the initial perception was that maybe the city staff could repair this, but it's going to require that we do any damage to the equipment, we'll then have to replace it from the same vendor. And the same sub we'd have to buy it through them. So in doing the estimation, we would spend about $250,000 if you add up staff time, equipment, and also, I think the unfortunate side would be as a project that we need to do would have to be moved into the next budget year. So it would delay some other important project for the city, and there's a list of those that were presented that we would, as an option to sacrifice. So I think, and the best option we have is to go back to the contractor, and they've agreed to negotiate a significantly lower price to do this renovation and repair. Ultimately, what you had was drains that were stopped up during the process and a compaction issue that was determined by the engineer. And so we're gonna go back, remove some of the equipment, kind of do a surgical operation and replace and repair the equipment and solidify and compact the area and get it back in service. And fingers crossed, barring weather conditions and act of God, we should be able to have the playground open, I would say, middle of June, if we're
Yes, sir.
lucky.
Yes, we need to get in their window because this is the busiest time of year for them. If we don't, then it's going to delay it. And I'm sure the mothers and the daycare owners and that seems to be a real popular place. Staff tried. We couldn't do anything with it. We had a plan, but our plan didn't work. So even if we have to buy anything from them, we still have to go back from the vendor, as Mr. Duncan said. Park and Play out of Tennessee, the equipment manufacturer will not sell us the equipment. We even have to go through Mr. Bliss to get a replacement piece of equipment. The surface is something outside of our scope. Not quite a third, but almost a third of the cost of the repair will be for the surface. Any questions?
Has the type of material to be backfilled with, has that been addressed and agreed upon?
They have, that is in their contract. That is in their contract.
I recall that was a point of contention also in addition to covering the drain.
It was, sir. It was, sir. So, yes, sir.
And he has given us a window that he is willing to make it happen right away.
Yes, I talked with Elisa Coble, probably a week and a half ago, and they were gonna hold us a week to get in there, and then, of course, you know, it's towards the end of April, and quick as they can get in there and get everything out, and then they'll get the people to come back and pour the surface back. So, yes, this is gonna be the quickest way to get it back opening. We're losing in the court of public opinion. We need to get it fixed. Okay.
Don't I know it?
I was at the corner of my dinner table.
It's my fault.
Okay, all right. Any other questions?
At my house, it's not your fault. Make it any better.
I think I would add that in the savings that you had by going through with this group, you're still gonna be a net savings from what the original estimate was, even with the repair. It's not a lot, but it's potentially maybe, you're still gonna be under budget by about 50,000, so. And we've allotted for the whole month of May, as overage, so I think we can hit this target in June feel confident we can do that.
Is that a guy standing there with a gun to his head?
I believe that's Michael with a camera.
There've been days when you wanted to have that gun in your hand.
I have granddaughters coming this weekend. It could be prophetically about me.
All right, and so you're looking for a motion to approve this expenditure?
Yes, sir, I'd like to do that. and-
Enter that contract
And allow
with-
the city manager to enter that contract, yes, sir.
Okay, do I have a motion to allow the city manager to enter into a contract with this company to fix our damaged playground?
And I would include and amend the general fund or to appropriate those funds to do that.
And amend the general fund.
Yes. There is an ordinance to amend the general fund in your packets. We are allocating $200,000 for this purpose because we have the contract price from Bliss for $148,098, but we believe there will be some ancillary costs associated with it, and so not coming back to you, we just asked for it in advance. So I recommend adoption by reference of the ordinance to amend the general fund to allow us to go ahead and contract with this company.
We have a recommendation to amend the general fund by reference. Do I have a motion?
I'll
Mayor,
make,
I think we first have to authorize the city manager to enter into the agreement, and I would move that we do that. And if we have to have separate action, we'll.
It would be preferable to have the separate action. First, get the approval for the manager. to approve it.
Okay,
Mayor, I move we approve the recommendation to allow the city manager to enter a contract for the repair.
now we have a motion from Mr. Bell to authorize the manager to enter into this contract. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Burks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Now, Mayor, I would move that we adopt the ordinance to amend the general fund by reference.
Have a motion by Mr. Bell to adopt the amendment by reference. And we have a second, Mr. Burks. You tired of waiting on me, are you? All right. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say, as somebody who's been vocal in the past about some of the things that how things have gone, I think this process to repair has been very thorough. I thank Mr. Duncan and the staff for doing that. All avenues were examined, and as much as it, nobody likes to spend money on something they've already done. But we also have a lot of little folks in town that really like it, and I too have heard it pretty much everywhere I go. And I think this is the quickest and the best remedy for this situation. So I just want to thank the staff and tell them, because they did, they examined it from every direction, and this by far turns out to be the best. It may not sound like it, but this is the best resolution for it.
Well said, Mr. Carter.
Yes.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Bell and a second by Mr. Burks, yeah. And that was discussion. Anybody else?
That was mine.
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? You have your permission.
Thanks, sir.
Get it done.
They tell him I'm supposed to read this stuff before I get started, so, we're on,
11B is going to be moved to May 8th.
11B is gonna be continued. Mr. Sugg, do you need to brief us on that?
I'll just say it pertains to the refining regulations at the downtown farmers market. Staff would just like to have a little more time to be thorough about it, with your permission to get it continued to May 8th.
Okay. Item 12. Ms. Reeves?
Yes.
Mayor, I think we need to take formal action to continue that since it's on the agenda, so I move that we continue 11B to the May meeting.
Are you an attorney?
I live it in day. I try to leave it at home.
Okay, we have, was that a motion?
It was.
We have a motion by Mr. Bell to take, formal action granting the,
Continue until May the 8th.
yeah, grant the continuance till May the 8th, at the request of Mr. Sermon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we're to,
Yes, sir. I can go ahead and take this, and Finance Director can kind of clean up here. We've had a request to obviously have space for the umpires be able to change in between games, clean themselves up. You may have multiple umpires available for a daily doubleheader, and when we have tournaments, there can be several coming in and out. And so this would be adding to our fleet by purchasing a shower trailer, not a bathroom trailer, but a shower trailer, a little more space where they can come in. And we also have men and women's where they'd be available, and we can plumb this into the city's utilities there, water and sewer, and run electricity to it. It's a conditioned space as well. We would also add an outdoor tent, so there's an area for them to get ready when they're having a game and can be available. And also, it kind of separates them. I think there's been some instances in the past where fans and players and, you know, parents have went out and addressed the umpires, and they need a space where they can go and get away from everybody as well.
Don't love you, huh?
The great thing about this is it's mobile. After this season, we will continue to use it in the city's fleet services throughout the city. I was able to purchase one of these through a grant in Caldwell County. It just so happens last year, and I thought, man, we'll never use that thing. And once the community found out we had it, we deployed it routinely, and it was a great asset to us. This also will augment portable restrooms that you have for your other events around the city. And we have also approved this with the Pugh family, who runs the Zoo City, the Zookeepers. And I think they're in agreement this would be a great alternative until we get the permanent structure out.
any questions?
The intent is to be a 12-month operational unit, not just for 3 months, right? So when season.
Yeah, it would be here until basically once we get all the funding allocated for the permanent structure. And I'm not sure if y'all are aware, but the county commissioners did approve half of the funding at this week's commissioners meeting. So we're, with your funding last month for design and the funding for construction from the commissioners, we're over halfway there now, so.
I was just clarifying, this is a multi-use type vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Multi-purpose, not just one specific.
No, I think you would use it in multiple events. And if we're doing renovations to a building, if we have a big scene and for emergency management, for fire service, for law enforcement, it would be
Natural
available.
disaster.
Natural disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to deploy mine for about a month and a half to our airport after it was hit by the hurricane. We had some damage out there, so it worked really well for us. And we also used it for a couple of National Guard deployments for training.
Okay, I need a motion to amend the general fund ordinance to account for the purchase of this facility.
Mayor and council, there is an ordinance to amend the general fund in your packets. The amount of the cost associated with the shower trailer and a tent has been estimated at $46,000. We are going to be housing this up in our fleet maintenance area up at Public Works for it to be checked out occasionally for different purposes as discussed by Mr. Duncan. So we're requesting the funds be allocated to the capital outlay line in the fleet maintenance department. I recommend adoption by reference.
We have a recommendation to adopt by reference this added expense to the fleet maintenance department. And do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move we adopt the ordinance to amend the general fund by reference.
Have a motion by Mr. Bell. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Burks. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, Mr. Roney, our Water Resources Director. Discuss and request council action on the award of contracts for the purchase of 7 chemicals. And you've got good news for us, I hear.
Decent news, yes. Good evening. In your packet, you have a copy of a bid summary and the bid tabulation for the bids we received for the 7 chemicals we do bid formally for treatment in the water and wastewater treatment facilities. We advertised and opened those bids on March 27th. We did receive those bids. They're summarized there. We would like to, or we got the low bids. These are low bids. Liquid alum is from C&S Chemicals for $447.95 per ton. Liquid caustic from Trinity for $662.56 per ton. Fluoride, Univar, $500 per ton. Sodium hypochlorite, Univar, $1.71 per ton, per gallon. Calcium nitrate from Citco Water for $2.30 per gallon. Sodium permanganate from Chemrite, $12.19 per gallon. And then at the wastewater treatment facility, we use the calcium hydroxide for our alkalinity, and that low bid is from Polytech for $1.85 per gallon. Those are all low bids. I would be glad to answer any questions about those bids if you have any.
How come Polytech didn't quote sodium hypochlorite?
Who?
Polytech.
I think we do too much volume for them. They've never bid.
It's not a giant facility, but
Right.
yeah.
I've never gotten bids from them, so.
Okay, so you're recommending.
I'm recommending
that
the council approve purchase of these chemicals for the dates from April 15th, 2025 to, April 16th, 2025 to April 15th, 2026. It's for a year to purchase these chemicals at these set prices.
They don't have an escalator clause in there.
No, these are firm bids. And most of these don't have to be bid formally, but we like to get a firm bid and we lock them in for the year.
And they have
Yes.
come down a little.
It's a wash. Had some go up, some go down, but when I did the math, our chemical budgets to be the same, so.
Okay.
It seems like last year it went up.
It did a little, mhm.
Okay.
But chemical market's very volatile and it does fluctuate a lot, so.
Any of those chemical that we can put in the lift station over at,
The calcium nitrate, it's in there.
that
what we use.
will keep some of the odor down on that one lift station that's a problem?
That's what we've been using the whole time, so.
Good for you.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move we adopt the recommendation of purchase of the chemicals from 4/16/25 to 4/15/2026.
Have a motion by Mr. Bell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Swears. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Those in the audience understand that if it weren't for Mr. Bell making all these motions, we'd be here till midnight.
You don't know.
We could do it.
I try occasionally.
I won't shut up.
He's doing it if he can.
Clark's just too fast.
Spit him out.
Okay, Mr. Leonard, I believe you're up. City Engineer Michael Leonard will request council action on the following annexation petitions.
Yes, sir. The petitioner has submitted a written request to continue this hearing for the first, the the Mark Braswell property of 59.3 acres.
Yes, we need a motion he's requested continuance, we need a
Yep.
motion on that.
We, do I have a motion to grant this continuance?
So moved.
Where was that?
Down there.
Give Clark a break, okay?
Mr. Trogdon makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Heath. All in favor say aye. Oh, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And I need, did I open a public hearing for that?
No, you continue.
We
Oh,
continue that.
we just continued it, okay. And item B, public hearing for Llewellyn Road annexation petition submitted by BLL Holdings. I believe we've seen that tonight already. BLL Holdings. Mr. Leonard, go right ahead, sir.
This is for 0.8345 acres located on Llewellyn Road, and this item was presented at the March 6, 2025 City Council meeting. A resolution has been properly advertised, and now is the time for the public hearing.
I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in the room that would like to address council on this request.
Just like to say, Robert Wilhoit, on behalf of Mr. Lucas, we
Again?
request that you approve this annexation. It's about 34,000 square feet.
All right. Is anyone else in the room that would like to address the council regarding this request?
Contiguous. Is it a contiguous annexation?
This one is, I believe part of us, this one is not. The next one will be. Satellite annexation.
Okay, need permission to grant the proposed annexation ordinance. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I'll move that we approve this annexation ordinance related to Llewellyn Road as presented.
I have a motion by Ms. Heath. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Bell. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and your last one is item C, annexation petition for 35,059 square feet of land, more or less, west of Uwari Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a portion of property that consists of two parcels containing a total of 0.948 acres and are located on Uwari Street. You have in your packets a resolution. You can see on the map that a portion of the property is already in, a portion of both properties is already in the city limits. You have in your packets a resolution prepared by the city attorney that directs the city clerk to take the required actions, and staff recommends adoption by reference.
Have a recommendation to adopt by reference.
Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution by reference, directing the city clerk to investigate.
Have a motion to investigate by the city clerk. Mr. Bell makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
There was a second.
Charlie.
Mr. Swears. All in favor say, discussion? Anybody? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And you have a date for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In anticipation of your action, the city clerk has prepared a certification of sufficiency of the petition. In light of that certification, you have in front of you a resolution prepared by the city attorney setting the public hearing date for the May 8th, 2025 city council meeting on the question of the requested annexation, and staff recommends adoption by reference.
I have a motion, but, may I have a motion to adopt by reference the proposed date of May 8th for the hearing.
So move.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And you got a date for us on this one? Oh, we just did that.
May 8th, yes, sir.
Okay, May 8th. All right, gonna turn the page.
Or continue 7 items for next month.
Mr. Leonard, you're still up. Regional Airport.
Yes, sir. This item was presented to City Council on the March 6, 2025 City Council meeting based on the recommendation from the Airport Authority at their special meeting on February 26, 2025. The recommendation was for the lease of an area of 140 by 90 as a lease of airport property and the construction of a new 130 by 80 hangar for the NC Aviation Museum directly north of the existing NC Aviation Museum building, and shown as Hangar Q on Schedule C, which should be in your packets. Pursuant to the council's instructions at the March meeting, the lease agreement has been prepared and reflects the recommendations and past practice. It has been properly advertised, and now it's time for public comment.
Is anyone, I guess I should open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the council? Mr. Broom, you have anything you'd like to say?
Wayne Broom, I'm chairman of the board of directors of North Carolina Aviation Museum. I'd just like to emphasize that we are very grateful that you guys are starting to move on this. We received that grant over a year ago, and we've had no movement so far. And we've been quite anxious to get started. We'd like the opportunity to work with the city, the airport authority, and start movement on this as soon as possible. We'd like to look at the contract and make sure we understand the terms. We've not been advised on anything so far. And at this point, I have no other questions because I really don't have a lot of information to move on.
Can you get with Michael who'll show you the contract?
I will. Thank you. That's all I have.
Anyone else that would like to address the council? Okay, we have a proposed lease that needs action. Do I have a motion to approve this lease?
Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution authorizing the lease by reference.
Have a motion to approve by reference. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Mr. Burks, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say like sign. Sorry. Motion carries. And you're gonna give us an update on the proposed budget for the airport authority.
Yes, sir. At their special meeting on February 26, 2025, the Asheboro Airport Authority discussed upcoming priorities for the upcoming 2025-2026 fiscal year. Recommendations included the construction of a new terminal building, along with the construction of a new 10-unit T-hangar, with their preference being the new terminal building, taking into consideration the possibility of expiring funds. There are additional resources available for portions of each of the projects, including state and federal funds. However, these resources will not fully fund either project. Staff will be bringing additional information concerning each project and available funding in the coming months. And we're prepared to, and as we prepare the budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Any questions regarding the proposed budget for the airport authority? I will entertain a motion to approve by reference.
You don't.
We don't, no, this is just information, sir. There's no,
Oh, okay.
so.
Got you. I'm sorry, I'm struggling tonight. And we move on to the air,
16.
you just finished that one. Proposed lease of space for electronic communication. Is that you? Is that Jeff? Jeff,
Verizon Wireless lease.
Thank you, Your Honor.
lease for the water tank.
Yes, sir, it's an existing lease that's needing to be renewed. Alltel doing business as Verizon Wireless. We've been in negotiations with them. They're gonna keep the same equipment. It's a 10-year lease broken up into 5 terms. There's the initial term, which will be at a rate of $2,295.98 a month. That's a 10% increase over where we have been at. The second 5 years will be at the rate of $2,525.58 per month, and that's another 10% when we reach that second layer. I'll be happy to answer any questions. It has been advertised as required by state statute, and this would be the time if there's anyone who wants to make public comment for that to be invited.
And I neglected to open the public hearing. I will do so now. Is anyone in the audience that would like to address the council regarding this proposed lease agreement with Verizon Wireless?
And if there are no comments, Your Honor, we do have the resolution in your packet that would approve the lease. That's the wish of the council. I recommend adoption by reference.
That's non-exclusive, right?
That is correct. It's
We
non-exclusive.
had several with
We have,
AT&T and-
there are 2 other major providers on that same tank.
Is this a new lease now?
It's
Right.
being renewed. They have been there for an extended period of time, but this is a new term for them to remain on the tank,
And the monthly rent, you said, is going up 10%
going up 10%
initially.
initially, and then another 10 when we get to the second
Got it.
5-year time period.
Change out any equipment or anything, Jeff, or they just, to your knowledge?
They can do maintenance and upgrades, things like that, but they keep the footprint that's where they're at right now. And we have provisions in the lease, just like the other, you asked a good question, with the other carriers, there are non-conflict and non-interference provisions in the lease so that they all can continue to function where they're at.
Need to take action on the proposed lease agreement. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I'll move that we approve this resolution that relates to a lease agreement between the City of Asheboro and Alltel Corporation, DBA Verizon Wireless.
Have a
As
motion
presented.
by Ms. Heath. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Bell. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Sugg, item 17, you request council action on a resolution confirming county street addressing authority within the city's extraterritorial planning jurisdiction.
Thank you, sir. The good news is I'm simply asking for adoption of a resolution and an agreement that lets the city and the county basically continue to do the same thing we have been doing for an extended period of time. It's over the addressing issue. What has crept into this discussion is that the naming and street addressing provisions are now in the county's Unified Development Ordinance. With it being there, it raises a question about whether or not they can exercise that authority within our extraterritorial planning jurisdiction, since the city has its zoning applicable there. The workaround for that is, we can make it all work with the adoption of the proposed resolution, is for the city council to ask the county commissioners to exercise that limited authority, and it cites the specific section within the Unified Development Ordinance for the county to exercise street naming and addressing within the ETJ only, not within the corporate limits. Within the corporate limits, the city engineering department will continue to exercise that authority. But that'll take care of not creating a gap in the ETJ. Along with this, in addition to the resolution requesting the county commissioners to take that limited action for street addressing, it also approves an interlocal agreement that deals with our, just putting in writing the understanding between city engineering, city land use, planning and development, and the county, and their counterpart at the county, so we have a smooth operation. We have to answer any questions, but that's the essence of it.
Don't let them name their own streets.
I assume that as we annex land, though, that it would be part of the agreement, that it would revert to us.
Yeah, this is clear that where they're exercising authorities in the extraterritorial planning jurisdiction, as soon as it's annexed, it's inside the corporate limits, and that's exclusively back
Well, it's a
under the city.
non-issue.
So I
I mean,
believe-
developers submit their names and they get approved based on criteria, whether it's here or there.
And the county provides a valuable.
Developers are coordinates, so.
We're just formalizing.
And I didn't mean to interrupt, and the county provides a very valuable service in coordinating on E911 and making sure everything works well on public safety. So they give a great benefit.
And I believe you said nothing's changing.
But the whole goal is to keep the situation as it is. We do need, with your, if you agree with this, do need an approval of this resolution.
Okay, we have a recommendation for approval by resolution. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve by reference.
Mr. Moffett makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burks. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
That's all we can.
Who's got the clicker? All right. The Easter egg hunt, Saturday the 12th at 10 o'clock at Bicentennial Park. That's a huge event put on by Cultural Resources. The offices here will be closed for Good Friday, April 18th. Friday Night Bluegrass, which is one of the most successful things we do at the Sunset Theater, April 18th at 7 p.m. The 26th, Saturday 26th, Randolph County Culture Fest at Bicentennial Park. Anybody have any update on that, what that exactly is?
I think there's 5 high school students who have tried to coordinate with various folks in the county to just have a multicultural event
All right.
downtown. Is that the impetus, I think, of 5 high school students?
Saturday
It was one of the-
26th at 7 p.m., Jazz Night at Sunset Theater. Thursday, May 1st, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. And I promise I will not pull out my chainsaw that week.
I'm just happy it's not on the council night.
That was the day,
Yeah.
and that was the day I cut my big toe with a chainsaw, last year.
Bubbles won't hurt you.
Okay, May 3rd, Saturday, Keep Randolph Beautiful Document Shredding and Medicine Disposal Collection Day at Hillside Shopping Center. That is a very popular event put on by Keep Randolph Beautiful. Greg Patton, who was here earlier, has been a big part of that for years and years and years. It's a great opportunity to get rid of documents you need to shred, medicine that you no longer take and need, that you want to get rid of. All you do is drive up down there at Hillside on South Fayetteville Street, and they will take it out of your car for you and throw it in the shred hopper. It's a great service they provide. Saturday the 3rd, May the 7th, Wednesday the 7th at 6 p.m., the Housing Authority Annual Board Cookout at the Housing Authority office. And it is Charlie Swear's birthday on April 15th. Do you want the
Tax
mayor
day.
to
Tax
sing?
day.
That's right.
You want the mayor to sing?
No, it's okay. I appreciate it, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
We don't want to extend the meeting.
But,
We don't want to go to 12.
April 15th, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Many happy returns.
Thank you.
And
Let's-
maybe extended tax filing, so you gotta do it.
At your place, you have a North Carolina State of Aviation brochure for January the 25th, and if I'm not mistaken, that is Asheboro Airport. And we are so proud of that airport. I will tell you what I've been saying, Walker's heard me say it many, many times over the years. When I first got on council 28 years ago, I went to the tax department and got a list of all the planes that were based in Randolph, in Asheboro and Randolph. And the Klausner, they had a jet at the time. The Klausner jet paid more property tax than 26 homes in my neighborhood. That's why we do the airport. That airport is an economic engine. It is money for our tax, general fund that you and I don't have to pay as property owners. And we are getting more and more and more corporate planes in their big jets, all the time. Every day, what I consider a big privately owned jet will land at our airport. And I was told a while back, if you can walk under it, it's a big one. I haven't been out there to check, but some of them look like you can walk under them pretty easily. So that's why we do what we do at the airport. And that is a beautiful picture of the Asheboro Airport. On the front page of this Division of Aviation publication, highlighting Asheboro and our runway. We can take a pretty good sized plane out there now. We've done a 60,000 pound overlay. We got 5,000 and some odd feet, 5,001 feet.
5501.
Of runway, and that meets a lot of the standards for, bigger jets. So, and more of these Toyota executives and Wolfspeed executives and MATLAB and different companies are flying in here for the day to take care of business and flying out that same day. That's why we're talking about a new terminal building out there, that they leave their pilots out there all day long waiting for them to come back after doing a day's worth of business. And our current terminal building is not really set up for pilots to lounge around and wait and spend all day waiting for their passengers to come back. So, and occasionally we'll have a rental car out there, a couple of rental cars on site for the people that fly in, want to take a rental car over to where they're going. So, that's important. It's all part of the big picture. So, thank you all for being here tonight. Unless somebody on council has something else to add to the calendar, we'll start down here with you.
Well, I want to welcome Mr. Duncan again. Thank him for showing up tonight after the 6-hour meeting he attended last month.
Didn't scare you away, did it?
I only got home at 2:15.
Well, I'll be quiet so you can hit the road.
Thank you for putting an end to it.
But that's it.
Bill?
One question I don't have to answer anymore is when are we getting a Starbucks in Asheboro? It's gone.
Mr. Burks.
I had an opportunity yesterday to do something with the Partnership for Children. I was across the street over at the Growing Place at First Baptist. And so I see what it is all you grandparents are so excited about when you have 16 3-year-old children climbing all over you and
And no
pointed
place
at-
to take 'em.
Yeah, and no playground to take 'em. But, you know, they do fun stuff, like they point out that you have, little dots and stuff on your hand and your hair is gray, and then they call you grandpa. And I loved it, and it was fun, just like that.
Yep.
Not just like this. But yeah,
Yeah, fun
bad
stuff.
enough.
But it was great. It gives you hope for our future when you see these 3-year-old kids out there. You know, if you listen to media and stuff, you get a lot of negatives, but when you see these smiling faces and these giggles and the laughs and stuff from the kids, well, it did something good to my heart.
And they come down to the sportsplex by the busload.
Yes.
To use that park the playground that we've got closed. Mr. Moffett.
Happy Easter to everyone. Not gonna drag this on if we get an opportunity to leave.
Where you going? Anywhere?
Huh? Nowhere. Going to Rockingham to the race.
Good for you. Mr. Duncan.
I'm just happy to be here. Honestly, it's, excuse me, it's been a real pleasure. And every day, you know, it's, my most frustrating thing I've had since I've been here, and this goes to I say this to the benefit of the community, is it's hard to get an Adobe PDF file open on my computer. That's the worst thing I've had. Think about that, you know, we don't, you know, you have to put everything into context of what real problems are. We don't have real
We got 2 or 3 guys up there at Public Works.
They,
They're supposed to be
they
able
come
to
and
fix
fixed it
that.
today, they sure did.
I'm gonna say, ask your kids.
Mr. Bell.
Now that Donald has completed his welcome to Asheboro and Randolph County tour, we're glad you're finally getting settled in, and welcome.
Thank you.
And for your first official meeting, and Mayor, kudos for your presentation at RCC a couple of weeks ago. I think that was very well received and very informative for folks to hear what all is going on and what has happened and what's coming in our future.
Thank you. It's kind of you to say. Mr. Swears.
I congratulate you again on your recognition award as being the superstar of downtown Asheboro. And you got an award now to prove it. You know, you can expect to see you out walking the streets displaying that on a very prominent basis. That'll be nice. Everybody appreciate that. And again, I congratulate the police department for the jobs they're doing for these fish games. It's, you just scratch your head, we'd ride by and just wonder, seeing all these people walking in there and all the cars parked out there, and it's nice to see some of them gone. Appreciate that.
I'll just echo the congratulations for you receiving the Downtown Champion Award. You're not just a downtown champion, but you were Asheboro's champion, and we appreciate that very much. And the State of the City presentation was really terrific and very well attended, as I knew it would be.
They were all friends. I looked around the room and I thought, I know everybody in the room. They're just here because it's me.
Well, I also wanted to recognize Elisa Chappie, who did the PowerPoint for that presentation.
Yeah.
And I know it was a great PowerPoint, so. I
It
just wanted
really
to-
was. She and Trevor and I worked on that 2 or 3 times, and actually went over it with Donald, and he signed off on it. And,
Yeah, so
it
her.
worked out.
Her work on that's appreciated. I wanted to thank Public Works. I have requested several things from them recently, just potholes and things like that. And we know they've been dealing with water line breaks, so that team always does an amazing job. And finally, I just wanted to honor, we lost 2 council members recently who had served on council. And I just want to honor them and thank them for their service, Barbara Hachuli and Nancy Hunter. So our prayers are with their families. And welcome, Donald. No, all the communication and everything has been really terrific and much appreciated. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all being very patient with me tonight. I was not on my game tonight. I was struggling. I have days like that now. And I'm proud of that. Good night, everybody. Be careful going home. We are adjourned.
Safe travels, Donald.
You're gonna invest in $1 million, I'll get you another necklace.
Meeting's done.